faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out in the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange. When you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. You're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. I think I got it. Hi there, Martin here from Giles Beginner Guitar Lessons. Hope you're well. I'm looking at People Are Strange by The Doors, a tune I've always wanted to do, and it's quite a difficult one to do if you're singing it. Well, it's difficult and it can be quite easy-ish, let's say that. But the riff is quite tricky if you're singing. The strumming, which I wanted to look at first, is it's not so difficult. You can have a go at it if you're not exactly a beginner, but you're beyond a little bit beyond that stage. It's got some unique features, this particular song, which I'll look at as I go through it. For example, the minors, you're strumming between an E minor and an A minor, which is quite unusual. And they've done it before in Light My Fire, where they used minor sevenths, which creates kind of a really unique sound, which is unlike anything else really. And yeah, of course, so there's this lovely kind of jazzy, shuffly sound, call it what you want, or the swingy sound of the song, which is quite nice. It's very different, quite a bouncy, jolly tune really, considering the subject. Also find yourself a dancer now. If you've seen the video, they practically are, well, kind of stood there looking like they want to dance. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to look at this particular, this lesson is going to be done in a different order. Most people have done the riff, and it's been done to, you know, countless people have looked at the riff online. I'm going to look at the chords first, so at least you can access it as a strummy song, and then I'll look at the riff in a close-up. Okay, so that'll be what we'll be doing today. Okay, so let's look at the chords. In the verse, we've got E minor. That goes to an A minor. And comes back to the E minor. And then the A minor again, and the E minor, and then to a B7, and then back to an E minor. So basically in the verse you've got every chord that's in, there's only 3 chords, which is E minor, A minor, B7, I'll look at them, how to make them in a minute. But it pivots basically back and forth on the E minor. So, okay, if you haven't played an E minor before, here it is. It's open E. You can put your first fingers or your middle two fingers on the E minor. Practice both if you can. First finger goes on to A2. Second finger underneath D2. And then the open strings underneath. Allow yourself, of course, an arch under there. If you're touching all the strings, remember, grab a pencil, create an arch. Okay, so there's an E minor. And then we have A minor. So that's the part where it goes, people are strange when you're a stranger. Okay, to make A minor, you're going to put your, let's have a look, your first finger on B1, OB1 or B1, and then you put your second finger on D2, you put your third finger on G3, and you'll strum the bottom 5 strings. So far we've got people are strange when a stranger, faces look ugly. Then we go to a B7, which is this shape. If you're working on this, it's a difficult one. It's a 4-chorder. You can do a slightly less difficult one, shall we say. So anyway, to make this chord, you want your first finger to go on to 1 on D, your second finger to go onto A2, your third finger G2. Now that could be enough. If you're making the chord, you can do that shape there. That'll get you by. If you want to really work a bit harder, pinky comes down onto the bottom. And that is your third chord. So far we've got this. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. And it repeats. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. So that's the verse. Let's look at the chorus. The chorus goes to a B7. So from the when you're down, when you're strange, and then it goes to a G. Faces come out of the B7 when you're strange. Back to G. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange. When you're strange. So there is your B7, holding the fort as such. Okay, so let's have a close chord. So you know your B7, whichever one you're using, and your G. Now again, there's this G, or there's that G you might have learnt. If you're struggling to make the big G, you can do the bottom 4 strings. So let's look at the different. Start with the easier one. Bottom 4 strings, third finger on E3, and that gives you a fair old chunk of G, doesn't it? When you're more comfortable, you put your first finger onto A2, and your second finger up to E3, and you've got your third finger here, which might come off if you're struggling to do it a bit, but that is a G. Your teacher might have showed you this other G where your third finger comes up to B3 and your pinky goes to E3. Okay, so the chorus then, those 2 chords. When you're strange, G, faces come out of the G. No one remembers your name. Oops. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. And then the song goes into a slight break. So let's just go over it. It starts off with the intro, which is the riff. I'll call it a riff, or the picking part that Robbie Krieger does, which is the verse 1. Then it goes into a chorus. Then it goes into a verse, which is strumming. That's where the music comes in, the second verse. And then we have an instrumental break. So I'll just show you the chords of the instrumental break. It stays basically on the B7. And if you know the song quite well, you know the bit I mean. There's a guitar solo basically. Holds the B7 to an E minor. B7. E minor. And it comes to an abrupt halt, which is a feature of the song. Lots of stops. Then it goes back into the chorus, which we've done. So just remember, I can stop on the break just to make sure you know those chords. We've learnt B7 and we've learnt E minor. Now, as a side point, you might be quite advanced or a little bit more forward in your chords. You could try B7 up here, which is what Robbie Krieger uses. I've seen a few videos. And he gets this B7 here thumping away. He uses both of them, but this one here he also uses. This is up on the 7th fret. You have a bar chord, so your first finger goes across 7. Your third finger will come on to 9th fret on the A string. And your second finger goes on to the 8th fret on the G string. So you get that 7th shape. If you know your shapes, you know it's an E shape down here, moved up. If you're learning your bar chords, remember to make them here if you can and drag them up with your first finger, like that. Bit of bar chord training there. So that is the break. Then it goes back into a chorus, as I've said. And then we have a piano break, which is basically, the piano break takes call it the verse chords, which would be verse 3 really. You've got that lovely melody, which is kind of playing out the melody, should I say. Ray Manzarek's pounding away on his organ. I'll delete that bit, I think. Yes, so there's a lovely melodic bit there. So that goes around one complete verse. We know the verse chords. And then we have chorus again. And this is basically the end. We play the chorus once more. And that's when he lifts his vocal, of course, and he finishes on a B7. Now that chord there, so we would hear that at the end. And there's like I think he drags it up. Obviously it sounds much nicer on the record if I do it on my acoustic. And I don't know whether he drags it up to the E or it just drags it indefinitely. But if you want to take it all the way up to the other B7, there we go. So that's the chords. Now I think we should look at the strum pattern. Okay, I've put a strum pattern in to help you. The pattern I'm using is down, okay, down, up, down, up, down, up. And kind of that will get you by, and then of course you loosen up, you'll add in your own chords. Okay. So let's like down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay, the verse. Okay, the pattern on the chorus would be a bit different. I don't think you can do that same pattern. You've got more of a down strummy emphasising. When you're strange, when you're strange. You'd say that's kind of a continuous down up there. Which would be 8th note strumming, wouldn't it? Which lends itself to that lovely feel in the song, which gives it the song, the swing texture, or the what we call the unique feature, the 8th note shuffle rhythm, which exists in there. So that would, but this one would be more of a straight 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. Okay, so that's the pattern. Hopefully that's helped in some way. Okay, I'm going to go over now and look at the riff. Okay, the riff. I'm going to put the tab on the internet. There's lots of riffs out there, so I'm going to go through this quite quickly. You follow me through on this. So the beginning starts on the A. There's a kind of an intro motif or riff. It's 2 on the A, open A, 3 on the E. Whichever fingers you want, really. I think the 1 and 2 get you closest to the next part. Okay, so that's the intro. Then it goes to an E minor shape. Now remember, the riff is surrounding really just the chord pattern. It's embellishing it in a very unique way. Very, very clever. Very nice little piece done there by Robbie Krieger. Anyway, so we've got the E minor. So you pick down E string, A string, D string, G string. Okay, so far. You'll notice I kind of jumped over there with my middle fingers, just positioning myself for the next bit. Now we pick back through the E minor. Put that together. Didn't sound much like the song, did it? So here we go. So you pick back through the D2, A2, and just step back there with your first finger onto A1. And then the finger comes off. Like such. No, it doesn't. It basically goes into the A position and picks the open A, but you've kind of dropped down into the A position there. So open A, pick down through that chord, which is essentially the A minor really, but you just play the top 2 notes. So far we've got this. And then take off your finger and play an open G. Second finger goes to A2. First finger to A1, and then open A. So far we've got next part. Okay, again we go back and play an open A again. 2 on the D, 2 on the G. This time we jump up with those two fingers back to the E minor really, and we do a double. We play these two strings, a double note, followed by an open G. Let's put that all together, make sure it sounds right. I didn't mention there's the open G. So that double note is followed by an open G. So all together once more. So from there, now we have a tricky part, which is on the A string. I'll do it slowly and then I'll speed it up. So you're playing here the open A, hammer on with the first, hammer on with the third, you'll need the second to go up and grab that 2 on E. First finger reaches down to D1 and then open E. Okay, the next section is more or less the same, just a slight variation at the end. Okay, so let me just walk through that again. So, oh, sorry, there's a link here. At the start, you did a little motif, which is this. This is also joins the two parts together, so you get this. So that's the part that introduces Women Seem Wicked. So you'll hear this. Okay, so that's the same part again, picking down through the E minor. Back up through it. Once again. Down through the A again, landing on the open G, all together. Second finger on the A, first finger on the A, and then off. It's a little step back or run down in reverse. So altogether we get, this is from just before, Women Seem Wicked. Now this is the slight variation at the end, where we pick down through the A again. Instead of jumping up and doing that double note as we did before, stay there, and I'm pretty sure that Robbie Krieger is kind of ending on the low E, like something like this. There could be a couple of extra notes in it, I'm not sure. I'm doing it, trying to fit in with the vocal as well. So it would sound something like this. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. the way through now. As always, I hope that's helped you in some small way. A tricky song, but can also, if you're just going to strum the chords, it's not so difficult. The blues riff around those two chords is, you know, great introduction to blues in a way, little runs and blues notes. So, you know, have fun with that, and take care. I'm off to Venice Beach now, so bye bye.